Welcome back into another episode of Ben Talks Hockey History. I'm your host, Ben, and today we're taking a unique and fascinating look at the sometimes heroic part of hockey, the Emergency Backup Goaltender, or as we know them, the EBUG. These are the players who step in when the unthinkable happens. Both goalies on the roster can't play. It's a story of last-minute heroics, unexpected moments of glory, and the incredible tales that make hockey history. So put on the pillows, grab your gloves, as we take a deep dive into the history of the EBUG. The concept of an emergency backup goalie is not new, but it has evolved significantly over the years. In the early days of professional hockey, teams did not carry two goaltenders. If the starting goalie was injured or otherwise couldn't play, teams often relied on a skater to fill in. This wasn't ideal. Imagine a forward trying to make saves against the best scorers in the world. Doesn't always end up well. It wasn't until the 1960s that NHL teams regularly dressed two goalies. Even so, the need for a backup plan persisted. By the 1980s, the league allowed teams to keep an emergency backup on hand, but these players were often local goalies with little to no professional experience. It wasn't until 2016 that the NHL standardized the EBUG rule, requiring every team to have a designated emergency goalie available at all home games. This ensured that there was always someone on hand to step in, even if they were not a full-time NHL player. So what exactly is an EBUG? Simply put, the EBUG is a goalie who's not part of the active roster, but is available to both teams in case of an emergency. They're often amateur or recreational players, like former college goalies, semi-pro players, or even employees of the team or arena. While their chances of playing are slim, they have to be ready at a moment's notice. This job isn't just about showing up and putting on the pads. EBUGs participate in team practices to stay sharp, familiarize themselves with the arena setup, and to prepare mentally for the rare possibility of stepping onto NHL ice. And when they do get called up, it's a moment they'll never forget. Now, let's talk about some EBUGs that have made history. Perhaps the most famous EBUG moment came on February 22nd, 2020, when David Ayers, a 42-year-old Zamboni driver and arena employee, was called to play for the Carolina Hurricanes against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Both of Carolina's goalies, James Reimer and Peter Mrazek, had been injured. Ayers stepped in midway through the second period, wearing goalie pads with the Toronto Marlies logo, the Maple Leafs minor league affiliate where Ayers practiced occasionally. But despite allowing 2 quick goals, Ayers made 8 saves and settled into a rhythm, helping the Hurricanes secure a 6-3 win. After the game, Ayers said, "It's something I'll never forget. I had the time of my life out there." The Hurricanes even made him an honorary citizen of North Carolina for his performance. Another unforgettable EBUG story came on March 29th, 2018, when an accountant, Scott Foster, suited up for the Chicago Blackhawks. Foster, who had played college hockey at Western Michigan University but had not competed professionally, was called into action in the third period of a game against the Winnipeg Jets. With 14 minutes remaining and the Blackhawks leading 6-2, Foster faced 7 shots and stopped them all, preserving the win. Foster said after the game, "This is something that no one can ever take away from me. It's a dream come true." His performance made headlines around the hockey world, and fans affectionately dubbed him the Accountant. And let's not forget George Alves, a former equipment manager for the Carolina Hurricanes, who lived out his NHL dream on December 31st, 2016. With 8 seconds left in a game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, Alves entered the game as an EBUG. Though he didn't face any shots, his brief appearance made him part of NHL history. Alves later said, "To be able to say I've played in the NHL is something I never thought would happen. It's surreal." And one more remarkable EBUG moment came in 2022 when 23-year-old University of Toronto goalie Jet Alexander briefly entered the game for the Colorado Avalanche. Though his time on the ice was short and he didn't face any shots, it was a moment that highlighted his readiness and the excitement of EBUGs all around. EBUGs are more than just a quirky NHL rule. They embody the spirit of hockey. These players remind us that the sport is unpredictable, full of surprises, and capable of creating magical moments. They're also a testament to the community aspect of hockey, as many EBUGs come from local leagues and are connected to the teams or arenas they serve. From a practical standpoint, EBUGs ensure the integrity of the game. Without these, teams might have to forfeit or play a skater in goal, which could lead to unsafe conditions and unbalanced competition. Their presence provides peace of mind for players, coaches, and fans alike. While the current EBUG system works well enough, some have suggested ways to refine it. For example, the NHL could establish a pool of trained emergency goalies who rotate between teams or create a formal training program for the EBUGs. But there are logistical challenges that can come with such a proposal, as we may not see it change because it is often we see the EBUG. It's not often we see the EBUG used in games. So whatever happens, one thing is certain. The EBUGs will continue to capture the imagination of hockey fans and provide some of the most memorable moments in the sport. So the next time you see an NHL game and spot the backup goalies on a bench, remember that there's an EBUG waiting in the wings, ready to live out every hockey fan's wildest dreams. Whether they play for seconds or secure a win for their team, their stories remind us of why we love this game. And that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for joining me. This has been Talks Hockey History. If you enjoyed this little dive into the world of EBUGs, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with fellow hockey enthusiasts. And until next time, keep your stick on the ice and your backup goalie ready. We'll see you on the next one.